welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. My name is Reverend Evelyn, and I would love to welcome my guest, Chakra Wanda, who's here to talk. She is the Calm AI coach. Fascinating topic of the intersection of spirituality and artificial intelligence. So welcome. Hey, I see Tracy, I see Kyra. The names are going by so quickly. Good evening and welcome. I'm going to do a little centering, a little invocation, and then we will get right into our conversation. Because it typically takes people a couple minutes to load into the room. So hey, Kyra, thanks for being here. All right, so let's take a breath. And enter this space and find ourselves here in this moment. So what I know right now is that the power of the one which created all things is right here with us. It is within each one of us, and it is expressing itself through and as each one. And so I invite the presence of this spirit, this one love, this one law, this one mind, to be with us this evening, to hover over this gathering where we are live, where those who will watch the recording. And I just invite peace. I invite calm presence and a beautiful, free-flowing conversation. And so it is with abundant joy and abundant gratitude that I release this word into the law. I allow it to be so, and so it is. Amen. And welcome. Welcome. So, Chakra Wanda, I just want to give a little bit of backstory about how you and I sort of encountered each other. And it's wild. So I was trying to think of what year it was. I think it might have been 2016, 2017.
Okay.
That we met. Periscope.
Yeah.
So I was on Periscope as a watcher. I didn't produce any content at Periscope. And but Chakra Wanda was on there, and she was creating jewelry. And she was creating, one day I saw her, so I clicked on her live and watched her creating, and it was this beautiful blue agate necklace, amulet. And I saw that thing, and I just said, oh, that is mine. So it's kind of like this kind of format, right? You just you text, and so I texted in there. I was like, oh my God, is that necklace sold already? And she said no, and so I bought it.
Yeah.
It was blue because I was drawn to it because I was doing throat chakra work.
Right.
And funnily enough, I ended up going to seminary, and I wore that thing during seminary and after. And then one Sunday morning, I was getting ready to go to church. I was speaking that day, and I bent down to pick something up, and it broke and fell to the floor. And so I didn't have time to put it back together, so I just gathered it, put it in a little Ziploc bag. And I told a friend about it, and she said, no, don't fix it and don't wear it again. She said, it's done its work. She said, if a crystal that you're wearing comes apart, then you don't wear it, you don't fix it and put it back on. It's done its work. And I just like, because I was going to speak that morning, and it was a throat chakra, so it was just beautiful. So I really loved that piece, and I hated to let it go, but it was time. So so we have sort of encountered each other on Instagram and follow each other around the internet, and here you are on Substack. And I see that you have branched out into the AI space. And so I wanted to invite you on here this evening to sort of talk about what you are up to. If you want to share a little bit about your spiritual journey and what has sort of brought you into this AI space and how you view AI, artificial intelligence, from a spiritual perspective.
Yes. Well, I'll tell Dove off of where Evelyn introduced our intersection. And first of all, saying peace and blessings to all those that are viewing live, all those that will view this on replay, and all those that will be, that I'll share on my platforms. It was a pleasure meeting and intersecting. Can you all hear me good? Can you hear me okay? in meeting Evelyn through live streaming on Periscope, which was birthed in 2014 and fizzled out close to the pandemic, I remember. Mm-hmm. And at the time that Evelyn came across my live, at that time I was doing a lot of live streaming, showing, making the jewelry, or actually choosing the crystals, laying them out, and that's what she saw. She saw me lay out into blue agate and complementary stones to make. So as I'm doing this live, people are like, "Hey, I'd like to have them," and so that's how we connected. And what I also, in watching Evelyn and her art journey, her artistry, her ministry to art in many different ways, and then realized that we had a similar path with the science of my teaching. Uh-huh. And I am a licensed practitioner, and just was it last year? Year before last, around, was it? Year before last in April, I received my ordination as well. Not in the science of mind, but I studied with Gateway University, Higher Consciousness accredited university, in the Angel Ministry program. So I had began that in 2015 and was close to ordination. We were going to travel to Mount Shasta, one of the higher spiritual presence locations on the planet. And my body, you talk about throat chakra, my body began to express tumors in my lymph gland and behind my nose, 2 different types. So I missed the ordination. And fast forward, I moved into this house in 2022. I experienced something. I checked the neighborhood now, but I experienced something I won't go into. But in recovering from it, as I sat and listening in this conversation I'm having with Spirit, how to come up out of that particular. I consider myself a multi-phoenix because I have the ability to rise up out of the ashes. I've had several times where I have to come out of the ashes. I heard the Spirit go back to the things that give you peace. Mm-hmm. And I began to pull my instruments out again. I have about 12 different types of angel harps, flutes, which I'm still teaching myself how to do, all kinds of instruments that came to me over the years. And I got a set of singing bowls. So it happened to me on my birthday, an incident happened to me in my house. I'm all well and safe. But in working with that, so I began to do the healing work, the self-healing with my aromatherapy, my prayer work. Literally, before I put my foot on the floor, I'd have a bowl in the bed. I was literally doing sound baths, okay, before I touched my feet to the floor. Then the spring came, and I heard, go near the water, because I live near a lake. And I was strategically placed and moved to the lake during the pandemic. I had the best time living where I could walk out on my patio. And in 2021 or 2022, the upheaval of chaos with rental properties and all that increased at $500. I was like, oh my goodness. But Spirit placed me in this house in a matter of weeks. So I'm still in the same neighborhood, could go to so I heard, get up and go to the lake. And that day that I went, when I pulled up, I saw a couple there I never saw before. This couple, a male and a female. The young man was playing a singing bowl. The young lady was painting. I've never seen them there. Their people don't come up. So it was such a beautiful confirmation that day, at Spring Day. And I walked under the trees and pulled out my bows and I began to play the root chakra. And I have it filmed or videotaped or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember your videos from Instagram.
Yeah,
by that lake.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, and I filmed him playing, and he said to me, "So what is what is your vibration?" I said, it's root chakra. He said, "Mine is too," and we began to play together. It was very powerful. I never saw them again, but that launched because I had this desire to have this experience and have others. That launched my series called Lake Therapy. And that year, that was 2023. Because the experience that I had that caused me to go into the dark night happened on my birthday, literally on 2022. So I came out, and what I noticed is when I played outside, their vibration, their voice was so much more expansive. And I heard Lake Therapy bring people, because I'd spent a lot of time in nature myself, years. You know, when the pandemic came, I was able to move to the lake. And what I noticed was the real world, natural time. What I noticed was the animals were still there. You know, the ducks were still there. You know, they hadn't fled off anywhere. I know the calmness of spirit on the water with all the other third dimensional chaos. And that really gave me such peace. So I'm gratitude that I can still do that. But I had 8 events that year. I traveled from Greensboro to Stone Mountain. I started doing one-on-one sessions with people by the water. Incredible things happening, healings. So that's bringing it up to now. So anyway,
did you ever, I'm sorry, did you ever get back to Mount Shasta?
Never have been able to experience Mount Shasta, but during that year, a few weeks after I experienced some neighbors having a shootout, and one was killed. It was just horrific.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I experienced that. So, right after that, about 2 weeks later, I'm still in this contemplation. I felt like the salon, my salon space that I was working with doing traditional, natural hair, I felt like I could be using that space for other things. Mm-hmm. My background, massage and healing work, corporate America, 24 years, and I jumped ship and went into massage and integrative healing work. I've had all kinds of different certifications. Ministry came along in that as a practitioner, and then I received my ordination in April because my professor called me 2 weeks after that incident. I got a text, and it says, "Is this Wanda?" And then I got a WhatsApp, and it was Reverend Kimberly Maroney. And she sent me a note. It was a note written from the other ministers from when they went to the ordination. They wrote a special love note to those that were in attendance. And she said, "Would you like to complete?" And I looked at my transcript. She checked everything. All I needed was 2 classes. And I got my answer. And I, received my ordination. And so I've been working with that, from that, just gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, congratulations on finishing. That's lovely.
Yeah. So, now, February this year. Well, I would say around 2023, around August, every year, normally my salon, a solo salon work, I work a lot with women with hair loss. And being able to do crochet braids without tape and glue. And then I also do micro lock stones. That's it. Maybe an average of 2, no more than 3 clients in a day. I work Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, work Friday, Saturday. I had the balance that I had been working towards for 10 years, 12 years in that work. I'm a multi-creative, so that fit right in. Me as an advocate for healing, nurturing women, that fit right in. So when people came to the salon, it was more than just coming to get your hair. I would change the ambiance in the room, relaxing ambiance coming from the television, lots of massage, just that was their place. But in August of 2023, the industry for me started to change. What I was used to for 10 years kind of dwindled. And then there was this controversy about hair products that are toxic. And one of the main ones that I would use. Ooh. So things began to be quiet. So in the process of just being patient and the hours that I was not getting appointments, that's when I called my friend. I was like, what is up with AI? We had this conversation, and she said, well, AI, as you see it now, is only like 3 or 4 years old. It's based on all that we are putting into it. But the thing is, learning how to speak with it to get the results that you want. But it's a lot of controversy. You know me, I was like, oh, artificial, nothing. But after talking with her, she said, okay, let's talk about your writings, because I write. You know, I may not have published a lot, but I have a lot of writings. And she said, your art. Let's talk about your writing, because you like to express a lot. I said, I've always wanted to do an ebook. And that might seem easy to other people, but technology, my mind is like, if I can't get this done in 5 minutes, I'm done. And when it comes to the cloud, I don't know any other cloud except the ones in the sky that created. Okay, where is the cloud, right? And so after talking with her, within less than 24 hours, I created my ebook and posted and was able to, market it. And what it was, though, the conversation was 80% mindset, hold my hand, mindset shift. And while I was doing it, she said, go home and do 3 things: ChatGPT, a Word document, and one more thing, and that's it. And I moved through it. It was not so much about being able to create it. It was moving through my own gates of resistance. And so so my book is called The Signs of the Universe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have it up on my beacons. You can download it for free, and read it. And what she said to me was a GPT within ChatGPT. And she said it steps you through on how to do your ebook. It asks you what style and prompts you so that you can put your own words, okay? Because we know that you can use it to say, give me a story about a watermelon. And it'll do that. But we as creatives, it's a lot more substance than that. So I'm feel very accomplished and successful walking through my own resistances with my first ebook. Then from there, she said, well, what are you doing with your art? She said, you can create series with your art. I said, what do you mean? So I sent to her one of my favorite paintings, and she sent images back to me. And she talked to me about how to prompt, and in a way that it does not look on the outside for matches. It is creating based on the image that I put in of my own image.
Yeah.
That on canvas, then that was it. I was creating images, and images was so interesting. I was working towards creating a divine message deck. And I was speaking into the prompts. Give me a scene of a beautiful soul sitting in circle with ancestors and angels. And oh my goodness, I was feeling like emissaries were coming through. It's a personal thing. That's all I gotta say. Ooh. Then she introduced me to a community led by this wonderful young lady who is a military background, but also an artist. And she's making big strides helping to educate our community, especially women over 50. So here's the deal. We all are equipped with so much within us to offer. So it's now marrying it with today's technology. Yes, there's controversy. I will say this is my own personal acronym for AI is, and no disrespect, authentic intelligence. Let me break that down.
Okay, please.
Everything that is created, this technology here, everything is a channeling channeling through man. Man can decide what to do with it. Light or dark. That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have
that's beautiful, because it's, if you sort of think about the origins of this latest iteration, because we've had artificial intelligence for a while. It's just that it was just in what was it, December of 22, that ChatGPT was introduced to the world, which allowed the general public to interface with it. But we've had artificial intelligence before that. But what allowed ChatGPT to be at the even baby steps level that it was at that time was a bunch of people sitting in a data center entering in content that was created by the human mind, right? So they trained the AI, or the original, blank slate product, was trained on books, magazines, like anything that was in print that was on the internet, was used to train that ChatGPT, and whatever other large language models. They are all trained on content that's created out of the human mind. Mm-hmm. So when I think about artificial intelligence, I think about it more, rather than it being artificial, more than it being like collective consciousness sort of solidified, right? And yeah, there's lots of controversy, and because listen, I'm in my 50s also. Yeah. I remember way back in the day when people were having the same conversations about the internet. Yes. They were saying, "Oh my God, it's going to kill jobs," and these servers and all this stuff. Oh, it's going to kill the environment. All this that was happening way back in the day, and there was a lot of fear mongering and meanwhile, I was like, at my job, we had one terminal that had a modem that made that cranking sound. So I would be doing my work, and I would go in the other room, and I would type something up into the, and this was in the early 90s. I was learning what was this internet thing, because I was so curious about it, Yes. Whereas other people were like, "Oh, I don't touch it. I don't touch it because it's the World Wide Web. Yeah, it's going to ruin the world." We used to say it all the way out, the World Wide Web. And what about those huge facsimile machines? Don't look at YouTube. Oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, it has. So I just sort of, I very politely go, "Okay, all right." For people who are like running around with their hair on fire, and I just kind of go, "Okay, I'm old enough now that I've seen this movie before, and I know how it ends. So I will just let the people who are afraid of it, who feel like it's going to be our downfall." I am a writer. I was put on this earth to write, right? I'm also a minister, but I mean, writing is my thing. Yeah. So I don't use ChatGPT to write for me. I use ChatGPT and other like Claude, Perplexity for research. I use these as tools. I use them to help me. The other day, somebody said, I saw a headline, how to use artificial intelligence as a thinking partner. I was like, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. It's my thinking partner. So that's kind of what I like to use it for. And I just sort of smile and wave at people who are just like, "Oh my God, it's horrible. It's gonna," right. And I just, I keep going. Right. So, my friend began to introduce. She knew about my interest, my natural interest as an artist. You have the writing piece, and then you have the artistry, which from there, I was introduced to a community to learn more and to be in like-minded Zooms and webinars. She would send to me links if there were traditional artists having a forum and conversation. And it just really opened up more. Are you talking about Misha Bazemore? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I knew, it's funny, I don't know her, but I was aware of her maybe 10 or 15 years ago.
Oh.
We used to be in a group called Black Business Women Online.
Okay.
Way back in the day, like I'm going to say late 90s, early 2000s. And she had the Coco twins.
Yeah. Is she still has the Coco twins? Her
this is when she was drawing these herself. Like she was doing.
Yes. She's traditional. Mm-hmm. And so her community is called DCT on the school platform, SKO. Demia is a part of that and grabbed me by the hand to introduce me. It's wonderful learning platform. I go in, I'm a member, but I go in and all that I've been exposed to, probably 15, 20 different type of acts, which all have changed since February. I began to meet others in pockets of like mind, and then I will pull back, kind of breathe a little bit, because it's really pretty exciting. And then, so I have 2 AI coaches from that community, one with each of their styles and ways of bringing people together, and one in teaching you. And there's one who, of the 2, both I keep in touch with. So I still take classes from another young lady. She has a faith-based school community along with teaching AI. And then I have the third person, I always go with 3, is a digital marketing coach. So those are the 3 communities, 3 platforms that I stay. I learn something, I whittle at it, practice, and I go in a little bit more. And where I have landed is learning how to use AI, just maybe 3, no more than 4 tools. I like doing the AI twin, creating my likeness in different ways.
They're beautiful. Yeah,
it's just beautiful. Me, and then I have permission of my daughters. I do AI images of them, and I'll explain what I'm doing. And I have a sister. So I learn how to create the AI twin. I also learned how to make an avatar, which is more of a character. Everybody has a different definitions. I know how to do coloring books. Then I learned how to animate. Then I learned how to lip sync and bringing it all together. I like the idea of storytelling. Yep. So what I've done now, I'm fine tuning, and I stick with that. And I've been experimenting. Believe it or not, on TikTok. With the TikTok shop. And something just happened just in the last 3 days. So all this time learning with my friend Demia, coming into communities, listening not just to the technology aspect, but real talk, seeing people pivot their own talents and skills while they're working 9 to 5, while they're being laid off, while they're being furloughed, while they're managing a lifestyle of maybe parents or a parent with dementia, and I'm dealing with that now. Helping each other, going into the main room and learning it, and then maybe in a sub room for like women over 50, hey, and then even a sub room to say, okay, now we want to create a print-on-demand product with an image you've created. What is your hope? What's holding you back? So really genuine communities where you're meeting, connecting. You might have a work day, a work hour, or 2 hours. You're coming into a Zoom where what are you working on? What are you working on? Okay, I know about that. I can help you with that. And so, how as creators, sometimes we can just stay and play and not get to monetize. Maybe you don't want to monetize, but some of us want to monetize. Some of us desire to do that and add value to others. And so that's the type of communities that I've connected with. But in balance, I had to, in the beginning, it was like, whoa, this is so exciting. You're up all night long, and then you're like, you got to have that balance. So I've learned how to, it feels like a tsunami, and the part of the tsunami is not when the big wave comes, it's the aftermath because it keeps coming. And that's what this feels like. So I've landed in the area of AI photo shoots or AI modeling. That's what I call it. And what I'm simply doing, and it's been an experiment, and it's paying off. So I'm honed in. I love the idea of creating. I can take my image and dress it up. I'm actually looking at clothing and TikTok, believe it or not, and I know how to dress my avatar. I just received instruction or prompt, a detail that is really, really getting it close. Now, ethically, I get different responses, especially from some of my clients when I was starting to do this, and they were like, "Oh, I'm scared of AI. Oh my God." They say, "Wow," but wow, because the other part of the mind is like, "Oh my God, somebody could take my images. Oh my God," and I'm like, okay, well, that's true. If we want to go with that, that's true. We see a lot of news. This is hitting all industries. I learned how to create music, and that's when it really expanded for me. I was in a class with one of the coaches because I liked her style, and she taught about Suno, which is an AI app to make. All right, you can put in there, make me a song about watermelon. That's fine. I learned about it, and at the end of the class, someone said, "Can you use your own words?" And that shifted. When I got off the class, I went back to poems that I wrote in 2015, 2005. And it was a collaboration I did with the beloved Twin Flame. We wrote poetry back and forth to each other by text in 2015. Then when the pandemic came, we came back together and took those words and actually wrote painted. We painted from the energy of the, we would recite the poem, and we have 11 paintings. So then I grabbed one of the poems and I put it in Suno, didn't create a style, and it came back with this melody and this song of the words that I used, and it was such an impact. I texted to him. He said, "Who did you get to sing our song?" And now we have 33. We're working on 3 albums together. All right.
That's amazing.
Then there was, creating the avatars to sing. I made a series of baby AIs. I made one that's the massage. She's a massage therapist. One, I was able to show her painting one of my paintings, and we are together. I like that creativity, and I'm only using images that I have authority to use.
Yep.
Ethically, because there's some ethics that you need to have.
Oh, absolutely.
And so from there, the music, now that became therapy for me. Every evening, I would look for something that I wrote, and then I learned how to modify the style. There's a way to fine tune the voice, so you can get it to clone your voice if you want to, or fine tune the sound. I did practice all the way up to getting a song published through a publishing house. There's there's United Master and Distro Kid. I'm sure there's others. But I learned about these music publishing houses that you can upload your song. And in Suno, when you pay the paid version, it is copywritten. It's yours. If you do the free, it's not. You can't put it out there.
Yep.
So I have one song. I have multiple songs, but I only chose to do one to go through the exercise of putting it through the distribution pipeline to experience. So I put up slow motion. And
my artist.
Yeah. My baby avatar, I was able to create videos of her singing it, and we did an interview together. I did a video showing her getting in a limousine and coming out, and she pulled up her little dress and she's just laughing and she's singing this song. So it really is very joyful to be able to share that and do the orchestration with the tools to come up with this idea. And so then I got into my paintings, and I'll share something I haven't really shared. I want to do a workshop because I feel like it's a healing journey. Well, I came across an article of an artist, and there seems to be, it's a special gift. I want to say it's called synesthesia.
Synesthesia.
Synesthesia. And it was this foreign artist. It was an article about a foreign artist who, whenever he was painting, he would hear tones from the color. And he got with someone, technically, that knew how to engineer, so that his palette would have the tones, and so musical art. But that's how it ended. Well, I'm gonna share, because it's not something that's secret, but I uploaded a picture, one of my paintings, and I asked, give me a Suno ready instrumental, and it did. Then I said, well, give me some lyrics, and it did. One of the songs is called Unbreakable. And then I kept going. I haven't put it out there. You know, I put a video to show me doing the original painting. I have Unbreakable and another one called Hey Queen. But you see me doing the original painting, finishing it up, showing ChatGPT comes out years later. I put it in the prompt, and I asked for an avatar. I asked for an embodiment. Beautiful. She came alive. And the song. And I see it as a workshop. I see it as if someone that writes or paints, and even if they don't write or paint, I can show them how to take a little, dollar store canvas, some paint, do pour paint, take a picture of it. Or perhaps if we're doing some reflection work and maybe we're working on releasing something, do a writing and be able to take that writing and change it into music and hear each other's melody. And I have to tell you, I asked, what is going on? And I got a whole feedback, and I'll try to explain. Talked about the process of us as beings, our energy imprinted on whatever medium does not die. It's still alive. So what has happened with what you've painted or what you have written is our energy still alive. What has happened is when you feed it into ChatGPT and the Suno, ChatGPT is the pixelation of the painting. And going by a reference of what has been fed in, but it's coming back with you.
So I want to interrupt you for a second. Your face you're getting further and further out of the screen.
Sorry.
It's like you're sliding away. There you go. Better. Okay. There you go. Okay. That sounds absolutely amazing. And I think what you just described. So are you going to be teaching that class? Because
I want to. Yes. Yeah. It is not a part. What I see it as is I know the emotion, the activation that occurs when he's my beloved. Okay. We're not that traditional, what you see in the third dimension. We recognize that we're catalysts of creativity. And the last picture, we started to do our picture. And that last song that came out, that's when it made me, okay, help me understand. And it brought up, and so I see this as a very sacred, very intimate for an individual to take your writings, your journals, or your painting, and if you don't know how to paint, to stimulate, to create, the bottom line is, just like we do not use the fullness of our brain. This is an avatar that there's continuous life and expression. I want to experience that with others, hopefully in person as well, because I can imagine. We came up with a concept. You know how you have the paint and sip? He said, what about paint and AI? I said, wait, the paint, sip, and AI. Okay? All they bring is
love it.
Okay.
And have it be like a multi-sensory experience. I mean, part of my ministry on my channel is the connection between creativity and devotion, right? Because I mean, I would be standing there at the canvas painting, and hours would go by, and I hadn't eaten, and I was like, I do have to go to the bathroom, but I want to finish painting this one section. 30 minutes later, I'm still painting that little section. So it's like it's an activity that can be, it's literally transcendent when you get into that creative zone. And so for me as an artist, that feels like worship. It feels like devotion. And so I really haven't picked that thread up enough in my publication and really talk more about spiritual liberation, but I want to really pick that thread more up of how expressing creativity as a human being, because our creator is a creator, right? So when we are expressing our creativity, we are more in sync with our source.
Our natural way of being. Brain waves shift. You go into another dimension, because I sit in this all the time. I asked the question a long time ago, before all of this, what happens with the brain? We go into different states when we're creating. The nervous system releases endorphins. There's this transcendence, no time. There's no time. I would sit in front of my canvas, start something. I literally have to turn it. I would get wee hours, go to bed. I can't wait to come out to see if I'm seeing. And I know when I begin to see an image, that's the position that I start. I don't even have an image of what I'm going to do. I've learned now to sit in front of the canvas and just kind of get quiet. I might have my color palettes. Then I'll intuitively know to pick up 3. And, when we met through Periscope, I wasn't doing the painting. The painting came during the pandemic.
It came later, yep.
It came later, being isolated, but yet connected. A friend they used to follow me on Periscope. I watched her doing painting, well, not wet painting, but she was creating canvases with cloth. And then she was doing pour paint. And she said to me, and although I didn't need, she said, I'm going to send you $20 on Cash App, and I want you to go to the Walmart and get the little dollar, bottles of paint and a canvas and some cups and a stirrer and plastic gloves, and you layer it and pour it on the canvas and stuff, and that's when that took off.
Okay.
That's the beginning of the painting and exploring, and then I got into bigger canvases. I've sold some things, but my heart shakes if someone wants one of my originals. I'm like, But I realize it's my healing.
Yeah.
It's my healing on canvas.
Absolutely. I also got back, I used to paint when I was in college. But raising children and moving houses and stuff, I just sort of fell out of it. And again, in 2020, I was like, what am I going to do? I was already working from home, but I couldn't leave the house, so
right.
I started painting. But what a practice that I started to adopt was I would write prayers. So I'd rip the plastic off of the canvas, and then I would take my hand and rub my hand over the whole surface of the painting, of the canvas, white gesso canvas.
Yeah.
And then I would get a pencil and write prayers over the surface of the canvas, of the white canvas, to activate it. And then I would paint on it. So my most recent one that I did it was a painting of koi, koi fish. And that just, it was representational because you could see that they were actually koi. I mean, they looked like, it was koi and lily pads and lotus flowers.
Yeah.
And it just started to emerge. I wrote prayers all over the canvas, and I started painting. I didn't know what I was going to do, but it just sort of emerged, and there was 13 fish, which is the divine feminine, right? And then at one point I stepped back. Oh, there's 7 lily pads, there's 7 lotuses, and then there was 3 of this thing, and so it just really became this koi. And so I ended up hanging it above my bed. But this koi pond, it's like the view of a koi pond from above, like from a drone eye view. And it really just kind of ended up being a very spiritual image, but also the process was also a beautiful spiritual experience creating that piece.
Yes. I found, for me, I discovered that creativity is a living, healing balm within me many, many years ago. And I'll be in the physical 60s, I'm coming to my 67th turn around this time, however, there's more. I can feel it probably until it's time for me to leave this vessel. There's this more, and I have a desire to demonstrate that for others, that there's so much more. And what I wouldn't say that I discovered, but what has been revealed to me with using today's technology, with organic creativity, which now causes me to go back on canvas. I want to maintain that.
Full circle.
Yeah. Creating on canvas, showing that, and then having it come to life, avatar and music form. It's a personal, it can be shared. I see small, groups. I see just the expression on someone's face when they see what has come from their own embodiment that they can keep for themselves. When I started to do the music and I was putting my words in there and fine-tuning and learning how to work with the artistry of that, it was soothing to go to bed at night. I could have it as private as I want. And then I began to use create my twin. I did some videos showing me walking in water, being able to express and those words. I had a wonderful experience relative to my family bloodline just last year. Long and short, my father is journeying with the experience of dementia. And we had to rescue him, get him to my brother's house. We still going through a lot of things. So I was fellowshipping with my family last year, Father's Day. It was the day a day after we got him settled. So I walk into the house, to my brother's house, and there's pictures on the wall, only 2. One of my grandparents on one wall, and another that I didn't recognize. For some reason, there's a lot of things with my childhood I don't recognize. But working on that. I go in, I say, well, who's that handsome gentleman? And my father leaped up, he said, that's my granddaddy. Like he came to life. Like his long-term memory is wonderful. He said, that's my granddaddy. I said, well, that's my great-granddaddy. And then it dawned on me, as he was talking, I'm seeing him revive, him wanting to talk about it. And he began to repeat, yeah, he sued the government when the soldiers took property. When I left there, I came back home. That was on a Wednesday. That Sunday, Wednesday, I came back home. By Friday, I'm in conversation because my father said that he had done ancestry. In 2011, he had come across a 6th-generation cousin who is a genealogist for the whole clan. We never knew. I reached out to her, never talked to her, but we followed each other. We talked on that Friday from 8 p.m. to 1 in the morning. I was introduced to my family bloodline back to the 1600s. I get the chills. That was in May, well, Father's Day. So much information. The bottom line is I end up walking on the land of where my ancestors were held, were enslaved, 2 hours away from where I grew up and my father grew up. My father had gone into ancestry and only reached to his grandfather because he was looking for something else. And I'll stop there because that's the bigger picture. But he was looking for something else and found a document where when the war ended, and I'm not even a history buff, but the Union said, hey, Southern farmers, if you have property taken, we're setting up a government claim agency. Bottom line is, that's what my father found. He found the literal claim. We'd see my grandfather's writing for him claiming 5 horses, 6 pigs, cows, and how much, and he won.
Wow.
He not everybody was approved. He got approved.
Right.
So I began to dive into that's just one story, but I walked on the land where my ancestors. The importance of that is that particular family that owns these 17 plantations was the biggest enslavers in Virginia. But the third generation, he inherited everything because his grandfather and father died in 1 year. He was 9 years old. So Thomas Carter III, so he grows up. He has an older brother, which is a mulatto, which is my 7th great grandfather. There was a law that came into Virginia and other states that said you're allowed to release your enslaved people with a lot of stipulations. And he was the one that released the most, 500 enslaved people. Over time, there was a lot of laws, but the Gaskins was in that lineage of 40, 50 surname. I walked on the land. Wow. I stood in front of the graves that were still there because I know this is a hard word, enslaver family, but the family that owned all of this land now has an annual celebration recognizing the descendants. Hold on 1 second because I want to show you mine. I wore my white, I wore a kente cloth, stole, and hold on.
Okay. This is very exciting.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't find it. Oh, my clip. I have an official clip from my tag. Uh-oh. Sorry. Give me a second.
No, it's okay. Take your time.
Regroup.
Looks like you knocked your phone over.
Yeah. I have I was in attendance. I recorded it. I have it. I send it as a link, to people that are interested. Now, reason why I mentioned all of this is now I am the assigned historian for my branch of the family.
Nice.
Because my 6th generation cousin gave me access to Ancestry to see the 22,000 tree. Okay?
Wow.
And then I learned so much more. There are historical markers in the Falls Church area. One has original families that started Falls Church. And it said 14 family names and others. We were listed in the 14 family name. And our name is in the ground. There's so much, actually, that I would have to put everything else away just to dive in and be the one getting into today's documented, palpable, able to access by way of a website or something. But now I have the tools. to be able to recreate.
AI can help you with that too.
Yes, there's such a thing as AI movie making.
But I mean, also AI with helping you parse genealogical.
Yes, that's true. That's a whole path in itself.
Yeah.
I feel very passionate about every person every family should have their own Black history.
Yeah.
Okay? Not just a museum, but someone in the family that has documented while we can.
Yep.
But that was the most, I tell you, and you know what's so interesting? There's a painting that I did that came through just 2 years before Evelyn. This is one of the many, I want to say, breadcrumbs or strings of connection that we know that we have that indicates the unseen walking with us.
Walking with us, yes.
Yeah, walking with us. Now, I got to show you that picture before we begin. But it was a technique called the swipe technique, where all you do on the canvas is put blobs of paint, little blobs, in different directions or whatever. And then you swipe down, and it looks like people. Well, when I did it, my daughter, the oldest, was in town. And I said, I'm going to wait until she comes in and we're going to swipe together. And when we did, when it came up, my daughter immediately said, Mama, that looked like people standing by water, because there was a line. And I said, let me just go all the way across. And then it looked like a reflection of a group of people. Some of them were shrouded. Some of them, and I hadn't really gotten into ancestors or really tuning into that aspect. But it was my daughter said, it looks like that song. She said, I keep hearing Down by the Riverside, Mama. I said, yeah, I keep hearing ancestors. So I sold the original painting, but I still had the image. And I got it redone on canvas print. And I called it Ancestor. And then here it is last year. I'm telling you. I feel like when this thing came about, I feel like it was almost like my cousin was a librarian. Like in the Akasha, She's sitting at the desk of my family.
Yes.
And back in the day when you went to the library, you get a little piece of paper and she writes something and she tells. So I feel like I'm walking down the hallway and all of a sudden I hear and I open the door and they're like, finally, someone has arrived.
I love it.
And our family ties, my bloodline ties to Harriet Tubman.
Oh my God. Okay, so this is something else you're going to have to write about. You're going to have
I know.
Yeah.
I know, I could go forever. But bringing in the ability to be able to bring these stories, your story, your expression, what your heart sings about or speaks about. If you're trying to release something to creativity, it's learning the tools, allowing the tools. We're going to have the controversy. It's going to be pushed. There's going to be resistances. Mm-hmm. Know when, through the heart, when you're able to speak about it. And don't try to force anybody else. And don't try to force anyone accepting you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I mean, this has been a beautiful conversation. And as we said at the beginning, it was just going to be organic and flowing. And we started out talking about, that beautiful crystal amulet. And now we end up talking about ancestry. And it's just beautiful and amazing. And I hope you post a picture of that image on your Substack. And
my ancestor one?
Yeah. Yeah.
I will.
So tell everyone what's the name of your Substack and what you hope to do as we wrap up, what you hope to accomplish with your Substack.
Well, another sister another sister invited me to Substack. What's so interesting is she's one of the ones that I did the first time I did one-on-one like therapy in Atlanta at Stone Mountain. Now, we know each other through the hair community, and I happened to go down for continued education, and we were going to be working from Friday to Sunday. Well, Sunday was going to be a free day. Everybody else left. And she saw me doing sound healing on Instagram. Before I left to go down there, I heard in spirit, take your bowls with you. Take them everywhere you go. I stayed with my daughter. I put it at the foot of the bed, and she said, Mommy, what was that last night? I took it with me. I ended up with that young lady. Her name was Janice. She had shared intimately that she had a book within her. She was going through her spiritual expansion and awakening, which is a continuous journey, right? And she revealed to me this book. So here she is. She wrote the book. She saw my images earlier in the year. She said, why is it that I just put the pen down on me, you know what I mean, on my book, and your images have the energy of what I'm trying to do? And I said, we talked, and I said, send me an image of you. And she sent it, and I re-imaged, and it's the cover. I'm in her book. It's the cover of her book. She took it and put it in Canva, put the words on it, and she wrote me in. I had that experience.
Wow, beautiful.
So, you asked a question. I don't know if I answered.
It's okay.
Because I would say this is such a lovely, first of all, invitation. I've not been able to flow in this way, express in this way. I've been navigating the shift of my traditional salon business, which I no longer have as a brick and mortar. It was time to turn the key in. So I am navigating. While I'm navigating, I'm allowing myself to swim in what wants to happen. And I believe I'm in between. I'm in this road of, it seems like every 10 years, I experience a major shift in how I'm to express. So this was very, it helps me to breathe really well. Yeah. Having this conversation, being in like-minded energy, and those in the audience, thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your beautiful light and energy here. And where can people find you on Substack?
So Substack, you know what am I on Substack? Am I Chakra Wanda?
The Calm AI Coach.
I changed it. Good. I did. I was consistent across platforms.
Yep.
The Calm AI Coach. And what I mean by that is not so much that any other coach, AI coach, is not calm. What I discovered from February to now is I enjoy sharing the steps that I took and introducing people in a way that helps them not to be overwhelmed, because I was for a while. So I can share exactly what it is that I do, or introduce you, listen, and introduce you to community, or eventually create my community as balanced in energy as possible. But just to encourage you, one step at a time. There's a lot, and it's increasing. Stay in observer mode. Find where you fit. I'm an introvert. I'm an extroverted introvert. So I don't really want to go live all the time. Although I got a lot of content out there now. Just recently, I'm monetizing my mottos. So I use the tools. I use 3 tools. One to, create my image, which I don't have to recreate over and over again. The other is to animate and to lip sync if I want to. But I have a tool. My apps are able to dress. I find an outfit in TikTok or anywhere else. I've been working with a handmade designer. Okay, a friend from social media.
Yep.
Who knits. She crochets beautiful neck warmers. Her name is Made for You by Sheila on Etsy. So I asked her, because I'm building my portfolio to practice, and I said, beautiful work. I would like to have one of my AI models model for you. And I was able to create stills and a video. She posted on her Etsy, and just yesterday, she said she created a YouTube, and she posted it, and it's 1.3 thousand views so far. Within
Yay! Wonderful. That's so cool.
Yeah. So on TikTok, I show outfits that I have picked for my models to do like a runway. My baby AI is modeling with one of my adults. She's got a cute little outfit. You click and you buy it, what have you. Within 48 hours, someone purchased one of the coats that I posted. The coat is $179. I'm like 10% commission. I was like, okay, I think I got it.
Yep.
So I have my theme is when it comes to the calm AI coach is that I like to help people new or diving in or in a calm way. And then I launched Metamorphosis Style House. Okay. and it's wonderful. Yep. And I'm monetizing.
Yep.
Okay.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Thank you again so much for being here. Thank you for everyone who has popped in. And I hope that we can connect again on Substack or Instagram or wherever, because it sounds like you're into some exciting things. And I'll be looking at your Substack to see that image of the ancestor painting. And
I will.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Wanda. And we should do this again and stay in touch. All right. Bye-bye.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and